Okay, and welcome back, students who are taking financial accounting, and we're working on the Chapter 2 problems, Group B, and the series for the problem 2-41B. So in the last video, we had created the trial balance, and so now we're going to pick up with creating our financial statement. So let's see what it says here. Okay, so we did number 1. We prepared the trial balance at December 31st. So number 2 says prepare the year-end financial statements, income statement, statement of retained earnings, and the balance sheet. And also tells us that the earnings were $12,320 at the beginning of the period. It has not been updated for the current year net income or loss. And we can see that $12,320 right there as part of the balance in our ledger account. So let's skip on down here, and the first thing that we do is we need to create a income statement. And again, pay attention to formatting. Okay, the formatting in the solutions are pretty much correct. I'm going to abbreviate, only because I'm trying to save time and whatever have you. But if I was creating them in the proper format, they'd look very similar to what's in the solutions. And remember that when I do this, if you watched some of the other homework problem videos, if you go through the same process again and again and again, you don't miss things. So you'll see as I go through this, through these financial statements, that I will follow a certain kind of procedure or process in order to create these. So the first thing I do is create the heading. So of course, I'm just abbreviating Baker Consulting, abbreviating income statement, and for the heading date, remember the income statement is created for a period of time. So you can do this in several ways. I mean, the instructions, the solutions say year ended December 31, 2014. Okay, whatever you put here, okay, if it's year ended, that means it has one accounting period, which is like the entire year. If you put quarterly, right, quarter ended, it tells you that the periods are 4 months long. If it's monthly, okay, monthly, it's every month. If it's 4 weeks, okay, every 4 weeks. If it's 4 weeks, that means there's 13 periods in a year. We get that because there's 52 years divided by 4, 52 weeks, I'm sorry, divided by 4 gives you 13 accounting periods, whereas monthly, you have 52 divided by, I'm sorry, not 52. You have 12 months in a year. All right, just that simple. I was thinking of something else. Okay, so, and when you're looking at 4 weeks as the accounting period, there is reasons for doing it that way. You remember the accounting periods are all set up based upon the needs of the business. They're not actually everybody does it exactly the same way. Also, too, you could have made the heading date for the and then year ending, okay, December 31st. I like using the for the, okay, for the year ending, for the quarter ending, for the period ending, for the month ending as part of the heading date, right? But the whole idea being here is that you indicate that it is for a specific period of time, and the date is the ending day of that period of time. Okay. All right. So then, once you have the heading, remember it's center aligned. The next thing what we're going to do is we're going to consider our revenues. And now, the way I'm doing it is going to deviate slightly from what the solution has because I like putting in the categories, expenses. And of course, when I enter in the ledger accounts, I'm going to indent since I have headings here. So I will have service revenue. And again, I'm abbreviating here. Okay, so I enter in all of the accounts. So I have salaries expense, and you do write out the words expense. Okay, rent expense, utilities expense, insurance expense, and supplies expense. Now I believe, no, that's the way they were. I had put them on, oops, I had put them on the, on the trial balance, and that's why I was a little confused here, because I had put the insurance supplies expense before the insurance expense. Okay, so reality is that since we're listing them from the highest amount to the lowest amount, it should have been insurance expense and then supplies expense, and that would have been let's see here, no, 5,300, and then 1,840. Okay, based upon the instructions, it had said the second largest expense first, second largest, and so on. So what I had done was I was looking at the actual trial balance that was supplied in the solution, but they didn't do it that way. They had gone and switched those two around. Well, obviously, the insurance expense of $5,300 is greater than the 8140. So, even I was following what was in the solution, but the solution didn't conform to its instructions. So now, as I'm looking at this, okay, so I'm putting the insurance expense in the proper spot and the supply expense in the proper spot. Okay, so then I have total expense here. And of course, since that's all indented, the total doesn't need to be indented. And now, because I have revenues, right, and I'm going to end up doing this in a multi-step format, since I only have one revenue account, all I need to do is just put that amount of 101,700 in the right-hand column. Okay, I don't have to create total revenue because all I'm doing is just rewriting that information. By only having that one amount, and I know it's service revenue, I know that my total revenues are 101,700. But now when it comes to my expenses, I indent one column to the left. Why? Because I'm going to do a mathematical calculation. I'm going to add up all of these expenses. So I put my dollar sign and I start listing the amounts. 48,750. Rent expense was 11,340. Utility expense was 6,750. The supplies expense was 5,300. And the supply expense was 1,840. Okay. And now, since that's a mathematical calculation, I draw an underline underneath it, and the summation of those goes in the right-hand column, which is 73,980. And the reason why I'm doing that, and as you can see, that's my total expenses. Now, for my income statement is revenues less expenses. So I have my revenues here, less my expenses here, which gives me the $ 27,720 of profit. And that's a double underline because that is the end of the calculation. So when I'm looking at the format, theoretically, I could have put everything in one column, but that makes things difficult to follow the train of thought, because when I'm looking at this column, all I should see is my total revenue less my total expenses. Okay. Any mathematical calculations, I always move one column to the left and put the total amount in the right-hand column so that I can use that information to total down the page. So I hope you're following that. That's the reason why we format everything the way we do. Okay, so at this point in time, I have $27,720 for our income statement. And I'm actually going to stop right now. I was thinking about doing the statement of retained earnings in this video, but I'm going to stop and pick that one up in the next video and see if we can't do the retained earnings and the balance sheet all in the same video, but we'll see. All right, next video.